Ian Garry threw one kick in the very beginning of the fight, and I think that changed the entire outcome of the fight. Magny was basically a one-legged fighter, and Ian Garry picked him apart for 15 straight minutes. This is my question to you. Clearly, Ian Garry is very Conor McGregor-esque, the way that he can call his shot, he can talk all that crap, and he can still put you in a position to make you look silly. But without getting the finish, you embarrassed Neil Magny thoroughly from a combat sports perspective, but you didn't get the finish. And some people are saying that is the one X factor that is missing from that next Conor McGregor-esque progression. Do you agree?
It does mar the performance of Ian Garry going in this one, especially you have a guy hobbling around on one leg, but you still allow him to get some shots off on you. Get back, get a little bit back on you. It does give a little pause for hesitation in the Ian Garry situation, man. If this dude, like I said, I saw multiple moments when Ian Garry could have gone in for the finish, whether it was TKO, whether it's a ground and pound, get him down there, and then you submit him. However the case is, there was a possibility that could happen. But again, all credit to Neil Magny because this dude is an absolute savage for not getting finished in there. But I do think it at least seems like it makes Ian Garry not the top upper echelon. He's still building to that point. And his name's the Future, the nickname's the Future. So it seems like the Future still has some steps to be crawling up that ladder. How long do you think till we see Ian Garry really reach his full potential, Derek?
Well, I think it's good that you're taking somewhat of a slow rolled approach, right? Because these are going to be the best prospects, right? The best contenders, the ones who have been battle tested up to the point where they get to the top 7 and up to 1, right? I think that this was a good test. I think that this was in his head, right? He said, this was my opportunity to show you that I'm at that next level. I'm patient. I'm not just going to go finish hunting. And I think that he learned from that Song Kanong fight where he got caught when he was just opening up too much. He didn't want to give the opportunity to Magny, and he just thoroughly outclassed him. Made me a little bummed out when it was a takedown in the last 30 seconds of the fight and just kind of ended it that way. I wanted to see some big ground and pound. He did have a little submission attempt, but you're right. You have a man wobbling around like there, you got to get him out of there. That's what really just blows you through the roof, man. But maybe he doesn't want that. AJ, have we ever thought about that in the perspective of a fighter? Maybe they don't want that to be just completely catapulted to the top.
That's interesting because no, I never have, man, especially in this art and especially with the egos fighters have, even amateur fighters like ourselves, Derek, still the ego is absolutely massive. So you would think he'd want to be skyrocketed to the top, but maybe he have that business savvy mentality where you think it's a marathon, not a race. And that might be the situation. I mean, if that's the case, no fault given at all, no fault oppressed, but do you think that's the case? Because it sounds weird to me to be in a, fighting in your underwear inside of a cage with millions of eyes around you saying you don't want the attention. Seems a little counterintuitive. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe that he doesn't, not that he doesn't want the intention, but I do think after just watching a bunch of Ian Garry stuff that he's just a very intellectual fighter, and that even though he does come off sometimes as hard to like, you know what I mean? That bravado, that confidence is so apparent. But I do think that he's very calculated in where he's taken his career progressions. And listen, man, I think that this is the mark of a good businessman right here, in my opinion. So Ian Garry, another victory, top 10 ready. And at this point, literally, it has to be a top 10 guy. So we're making our progressions. We're getting there. Big win by the Future, Ian Garry.